think about the four elements, you'll likely discover that you have some symbolic imagery associated with each of them. We typically think of water representing fluidity, fire representing energy or destruction, air representing movement or perhaps the invisible, and earth usually represents what is stable, material, substantial. But think about this last one for a moment. Is it really the case that we've ever really lived on a stable earth? The philosopher Thomas Nail encourages us to rethink this idea that the element of earth is something unchanging and steady. He thinks that all of the elements are connected to movement, even earth. The idea of earth as stable really only appears in the 19th century with the emergence of two schools of thought for thinking about the earth: uniformitarianism and catastrophism. Catastrophism is the idea that, for the most part, the earth is relatively unchanging, but when things do change, they do so suddenly and rapidly in catastrophic events like an ice age or a destructive earthquake. Uniformitarianism, which came afterwards, suggests that the earth as we see it today was created through changing processes over time, but it still maintains this idea of stability, Nail thinks, because it claims that these changes are uniform and homogeneous across geography and time. And that would mean that the present is a good indicator of the past. This view is important because it shows the importance of thinking about nature in terms of process rather than a solid substance. But Nail suggests that it's also too static. So is catastrophism. Both catastrophism and uniformitarianism, even though they embrace that the earth is changing, nonetheless rely on this fallacy that the earth is relatively stable compared to the other three elements. It's the only one that we can hold in our hand or stand on solidly. But if we take a step back, we come to realize that in conceptualizing earth in this way, we take for granted its actual dynamism and the fact that it's really changing in a more fundamental way. It's really more processual than actually substantial, with sort of either punctuated pockets of change, as in catastrophism, or sort of just like gradual change, but with a certain homogeneity, as with uniformitarianism. And by understanding the ever-changing nature of Earth, Nail thinks that we can further appreciate it. And this is important for helping ground discussion on things like climate change and the limited natural resources on the Earth. It may very well be, at least he thinks it's the case, that our idea of the earth as firm and unchanging is nothing more than an illusion. If you want to learn more about this, check out our Overthink episode on air, which is part of our series on the four elements. We are a philosophy podcast co-hosted by two professors, if you haven't encountered us before.